Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Faith and Freestyles, where you spit your story and you give God the glory. I'm so thankful for my guest, my sister. I can't even say guest. She's at home, right?
Absolutely.
She literally is at home. Shoes off, right? Kitchen over there somewhere,
For sure.
right? Food done, right? Baby sleeping, right? Prayerfully to
Oh, yeah, they in the bed.
so thankful for my sister Kay, Kaylin Berry, right? Kaylin Berry. Now,
Hey, love.
Kayla Berry. You see, I messed up Mike's name too. I called him OG Mike, bruh. When we had that show, you're like, wait, yo, man, you meant my name is OG, bruh, Mike. I was like, oh, you're right. I'm crazy. I'm stupid. Nah, I
No,
meant
hey, we grown in this late. We be working.
I wanted to make sure because I know when I first saw you there, I thought it was Kai.
Most people do, yeah. My
Right.
mom, man, that I instead of that Y been tearing me up my whole life.
Yeah, so let me just walk on eggshells on this one and make sure I say her name right. Kay, how you feeling, sis? How's everything going? How's life? God got you. I can
Man,
tell by the hat.
life is busy, but life is good. Lots of stretching and learning and all the things. So I really can't complain. Well, I choose not to complain.
Well, that's a choice. That's definitely a choice. And we will be glad in it, right? We will
That's it.
choose to rejoice and be
That's it.
glad in it. Amen. Amen. So let's talk. You know, I'm very admirable of you and your husband. Shout out to OG bro Mike as well. This power couple, this musical couple, these disciples, these saints, work together with music. They
Absolutely.
lead their homes. You know, I'm just admirable of you. And in one episode, definitely got to get both of you on together.
For sure.
Yeah, we definitely got to put these two together. But I was thinking, you know, when we were trying to I was figuring out what I'm going to ask my sister. And I was like, let me go a little deep with this conversation today. You know, I said, you know what? She's a wife, she's a mother, and an artist. And I was thinking, how do you like understand your role, right,
Mhm.
as a public theologian? And I asked that question. I thought about that because the last conversation that we had, and for those who are on YouTube, you know, her interview was on YouTube.
Yes.
But we talked about, you know, the hip hop artists, the Christian hip hop artists that eventually walk away from the faith, and then you hear, you know, you see those dear church kind of letters or videos,
Yeah.
right? Like, how do you understand your role, right, as a theologian through music, through rhyme, right?
For sure.
Especially in a culture that misunderstands both Christianity and womanhood, right? There's still those elements of sexism in society and things of that
Mm-hmm.
nature. Yeah, how do you find that balance, right, through biblical conviction versus cultural expectation? That's a whole lot I just asked right
I'm
there.
about to say you loaded me up.
All
I'm gonna answer
right.
the first part. So my role, like, how do I see my role? I think more lately than not, um, it's so easy to get caught up in your roles. Like before I got married, my role was single mom, and that was consuming. And then I got married, my role was wife, and that was consuming. And so the place I've been going to lately is I have one role, and that's stewardship. My
Mm,
role is stewardship, and that covers everything else because with the role of stewardship, I'm stewarding my role as a mom correctly. I'm stewarding my role as a wife correctly. My role as an artist. You know, hip hop music, that's the language I speak. I love music, poetry, all those things, but at the foundation of it, Christ shapes all those things. And I never want to get to a place where I see some people get in that. I almost got myself where we allow the music to define those things and
oh,
culture to define those things. So I don't really separate like theology from creativity. My life, um, my marriage, all of those things. It's the foundation. Like it's not like a side note, especially in a world that is oftentimes confused about biblical womanhood, and marriage, and
Wow.
Christianity. Like, just because I am a Bible believing woman and I'm married, I'm a wife, does not mean like I have to be silent or small. Like, that's not what that means.
That's a big expectation. People definitely
Oh,
believe
for
that
sure.
aspect though. But go ahead, sis.
And then the next one, balancing that conviction with like cultural expectations, especially in the climate we're in today. People expect you to be one or the other. Um, I focused on, and this was a saying I had PG in them many years ago, which is please God, not man. And it is, I can't focus on the approval of people. I can't focus on the approval
Wow.
of my
Wow.
culture. I can't focus on the approval of other moms. I can't focus on the approval of other wives, because that's a trap every single time without
Right.
fail. And so I know that societal standards change, culture changes, expectations change. Scripture does not. The
Amen.
word does not. And so, if something is pressuring me to compromise my convictions, my covenant, that foundational role of stewardship, it's not worth it to me anymore. And I know what's on the other side of compromising my convictions already. I know what's on the other side of compromising my roles already. So I care more at this point in my life about being faithful to God and being obedient to his word than I do about being successful according to music standards, the world standards, or going viral, any of that. Like, I want to be faithful. What does it mean to go viral if I ain't viral in the kingdom? Like, that makes no sense.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, and you kind of touched on, we talked about the apologetics piece, right? And
mm,
so you hear a lot of people with this term thrown a lot around deconstruction, right?
oh yeah,
Rethinking, right? Repackaging Christianity, rethinking, kind of historical truths that we have
absolutely.
been taught traditionally and things of that nature, and that's where your music exists, right? Is in this
Mm-hmm.
time where people are deconstructing the faith, thinking things differently, analyzing things in ways and changing and altering
Oh,
things,
for sure.
right? And so your the faith is often questioned or deconstructed. So how, and you kind of spoke on it, but how do you, through your lyrics, how do you defend the gospel? How do you respond to people that, that challenge the faith? Your message online and in the industry. Like I said, you
Yeah.
said you're not going to compromise, but like how do you do that practically? Because we can easily say these terms
Oh,
and
for
blanket
sure.
statements, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how do you stay grounded um in the faith and not waver, right? As Paul said, going to and
Man,
fro, right?
I think it's really only like one way. It's like I defend it through the truth,
Right.
through honesty. Like, that's it. That's simple. But it's not just telling the truth about the word and being biblically literate, but it's like tell the truth about my trauma, tell the truth
Mm-hmm.
about my insecurities, tell the truth about, hey, yes, I am redeemed, but what did redemption look like for me? What was I redeemed from? I'm not trying to get people on my side or win arguments to go back and forth, but I want people to know that the gospel makes sense in real life, not just theoretically, not just,
Right.
oh, come to the Lord. Like, no, it makes sense.
Right.
So I want my music to reflect those things. I want my music to show people, um yes, I do dig in my word. I do break bread. I do study, but also I'm human, just like you. I gotta pick up my cross and deny myself daily, just like you. Like, this is real life through and through.
Right. And me and my bro Damon Richardson, we talked a lot about like
I
community.
love Damon.
Yeah, that's my guy, man. And he's a stickler um, when it comes to, podcasts or people who make Facebook pages and, kind of a spiritual influencers.
Yeah,
And he's a stickler for making sure they are in community, right? That they
absolutely.
have a church home. And man, you kind of talked about that a little bit in
Mm-hmm.
regards of your church home and how it's helped you. And I think that's another aspect that gets really overlooked during this
Oh,
kind
for
of
sure.
deconstruction kind of thing, that we kind of lose the significance of going to church. Right?
Yes.
When we
Forsaking the assembly of the brethren.
Right, right, and I would say COVID did a number on us.
Oh,
We
absolutely.
also done a number on ourselves, because it felt good being in that bed in the pajama pants, right?
Oh,
Watching
bedside
this,
Baptist was always popping.
right? Said I didn't have to really commit, I didn't have to give, I didn't get
Oh,
direct teaching, fellowship, things of that nature, and so like community is really important.
one
In
thousand
the
percent.
process, and so I really thank you for acknowledging that in the last interview. But also, as believers, it is important that we definitely promote, of course, the right church, but just
Absolutely.
just be on the lookout, right?
Yeah.
A bolo for those who are thinking that not being in community is not a good thing, and it's like nah, because you deconstruct, you don't need a church place, and church. I am the church, and wherever I go is the church, and things of that nature. But
Taking
no,
stuff out of context.
right. But as you mentioned, like the apologetic, the
Mm-hmm.
defense. I think the church we do a good job of the celebration, right? The praise aspect of it, but the defense,
Oh
right,
yeah,
is important and helps when you're around community, whether
for sure.
locally, I think is important, but also in community, nationally, you
That's
have
where the sharpening happens. That's where you can be
absolutely,
challenged in love, and you can see, man, I was wrong about that. Or let me dig deeper and find out for myself what it really means. That's where all those things happen.
absolutely. So marriage, motherhood,
Yes.
and you are when I mean this is what you push to the world. How has covenant, both your covenant with Christ and your covenant in marriage, shaped how you influence, navigate influence, how you navigate your platform and cultural relevance? So you just mentioned, I'm not really focused on going viral,
Mhm.
right? Um, and that's tough because how you rap and the things that you do is gonna go viral. I mean, it's just the reality of the situation, right? It's like it's going to happen.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, how do what does faithfulness look like right now, in this season for you? More than fame, more than anything. But you mentioned being a good steward. Like,
Hmm.
how are you? Hey, Kai, jump on this track with a secular artist that's speaking crazy. Here's $1 million, right? Just to
Ooh,
do,
it gets real. Those things are real realities, though.
right? Like how would you do that? How would you handle that?
Man, I think going back to the first thing about how covenant really plays a part in those things. When I married my husband, I was already in a covenant before I married my husband, which is my covenant with Christ. And so
Mm,
when I married my husband, it became a threefold covenant, which is my covenant with Christ, my covenant with my husband, and that's where my covenant with Christ is what really defined who I am, my identity. My covenant in marriage definitely brings on another layer of accountability. Marriage makes you holy. I'm learning that day by day, hour by hour. You really have to choose. And so none of these platforms mean anything if it costs me my integrity, if it costs me my household, if it costs me um intimacy with the Lord and with my husband. Um, what does faithfulness look like? That's a loaded question that you
it
didn't hit me
is.
with. Um,
All right, so check this out. Let me give you just a so my pastor, we were talking, we were at a men's meeting. This is very powerful. Then once I set this framework, you be like, okay. He was talking about an author of a book, and he mentioned how life is in the form of like spears. So you
mm,
have some spears that are like diamond that are glass, and you have some that are
mm-hmm,
like, like let's say like rubber that can you drop
right.
it, it'll bounce back. So if you sacrifice your
Come
job,
on. I see where you're
really,
going.
right, it's able to bounce back, right? If you sacrifice, hey man, I'm not going out to the club with you. I'm not going to the bar. It could bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
But your family, right? Your mental health, right? Your marriage, relationship with the children. Those are the fragile diamond
Yeah.
glass spheres that if you drop it, it won't bounce back.
Come on, it's gonna shatter.
It's
And
going to
guess what?
shatter.
It can take you. It's gonna take you, number one, a long time to piece it back together. And even in that, you're never going to be able to piece it back together the way it was, because
Right.
those little shards and those little pieces, like it. Yeah,
It's
that's
going to look
good.
It's going to look different,
That's
and
good.
so I wanted to frame it that way because it hit me like, dang, me not spending that much time with my children, even though they're right there.
Come on.
Right. I'll get mad at them because they're on their phone, but I'm on my phone too. Right.
Man, when I tell you, you in my lane. So speaking to that, I was right where you were. Like I noticed that when my kids would come home, it was okay. Let me hurry up and breeze through my homework. I'm good now. It's screen time, and I'll be like, man, like I'm noticing the more time they spend on screens, now you got a negative attitude towards reading. Now you feel some type of
Right.
way about studying, and then I put in, me and my husband put in a no screen day, and then it was like, but they looking at me on my phone scrolling, and my 6 year old is very unfiltered. Kids gonna let you know the truth. And
Right.
he was like, Mom, you gave us no screen days, but you still on your phone. And I was
Right.
like, all right. So me and my husband decided, you know what? Throughout the full week, from Monday through Friday, when they get out of school, it's no screens. You can read, you can go outside, you can create, you can do all those things, but you have to use your brain instead of just sitting in front of a screen. And so that applies to us too. And it's been challenging, but I read more. I they see me reading. My son saw me in here worshiping the other day, and he came home and was like, "Hey, can you put on the holy song?" And I was like, "All right, and that's dope for me as a 6 year old." And so what faithfulness looks like to me in this season is consistency at home. And like you were saying, for me, that is as a person in the vein of psychology, it doesn't even take a lot. And this is encouragement to you and any other people who are like, man, life is busy, but I need to find quality time with my kids. If you can get the first 10 minutes of the day with your kids and the last 10 minutes before they go to bed, you in a good place. If you can do that consistently, like uninterrupted, nothing, like not correcting them for that 10 minutes, letting them just be themselves with you, like that quality time means a lot with them. And so I started doing that with my son, and I've seen a huge difference with just 20 minutes a day. And so consistency at home, integrity with my walk and my music, and obedience when nobody is looking. It's easy to be obedient when I can brag about it or get on here and be like, oh, I'm so glad I obeyed the Lord. This is what he did. But no, when nobody's ever going to know, when nobody is looking, am I still going to walk in that same obedience?
Right.
My marriage and my family matter more to me at this point in my life. And that was a little unleveled at first. And that's why my husband had to tell me, hey, God still expects you to use your gift and honor your marriage. And so I want to build something that lasts. Like, I don't want it to just be cool or fit a trend. Like, I really want to honor God in all areas. So consistency at home.
Wow. Wow. And it's time for me to be consistent because you know what time it is?
What
You see how I
time
said
is
that?
it?
It is time. It is time, K. Berrien. It is time for faith and freestyle. Miss
Hey,
K,
hey,
spit your story and give God the glory. Are you ready?
hey, stay ready.
All right, let's get it.
I hear him talk a lot of smack. They be acting real tough. Fake cash money records. They can never back it up. Chest turn to thrones when she hit the seat. She stay hungry, she be eating beats. Slanging hope, give it out for free. Walking by faith, but we gon' see. We gon' see. We gon' see. They be doing a lot of talking, but we gon' see. We gon' see. We gon' see. They be doing a lot of talking, but we gon' gon' see. Say the same thing, but we talk different. Same journey, but we walk different. You great value, I'm prego. Yeah, we both dripping, but the sauce different. Same owl, same mission. Ingredients, some of yours missing. We might be next to each other, but I got more quality. The cost different. You Olaf, I'm Jack. We both cold, but the frost different. Yeah, we both can body beat. Same outline, but the chalk different. I'm savage and you savage too. We cut the same, but the clout different. I see fair and you a Pharisee. We even carry the cross different. Circle small, I'm rolling with a steeple or two. When I'm on the beat, know I got the diesel for you. Animal in the game, Crash Bandicoot. And you ain't gotta like it, just respect it. I'm a Aretha to you. Respect on my name. I hear him talk a lot of smack. They be acting real tough. Fake Cash Money records, they can never back it up.